In a vicious, unforgiving post-apocalyptic wasteland, a tyrant named Immortan Joe rules over the land, and one of his lieutenants named Furiosa has absconded with his 5 wives in hopes of getting them somewhere safe. Along the way, Furiosa runs into a drifter named Max, who agrees to help her save the wives and take down Immortan Joe's sadistic empire in the 2015 critically acclaimed action thriller Mad Max Fury Road. I'm Connor Eyzaguirre.
I'm Adam Johnson.
I'm Jeremy Johnson.
And this is Filmgazm. Welcome to the Filmgazm podcast. I'm joined today by Austin's brothers, Adam and Jeremy, who are going to help me unravel the insanely action-packed thrill ride, Mad Max Fury Road. Excited to be here with you guys. Thanks for joining me.
Absolutely, looking forward to it. You texted me a few days ago, and we're like, "Hey, let's do a movie. Pick a time you want to record this week, and pick a movie." And I mean, I was like, "Man, in the history of movies, like, what I got to think of one that have not done yet." The first one that came to my mind was Zodiac, because that's one of my favorite movies, and I thought that'd be a fun one to talk about. But Austin said you guys did that about 3 years ago. He's like, "Wow, we could do a re-release." I said, "No, I want it to be something y'all haven't done yet." So this is kind of the next thing that popped in my head. So yeah, Mad Max Fury Road, an awesome theater experience that has grown on me every time I've seen it since then. So yeah, that was the kind of impetus behind choosing this movie.
Very nice. I love that. And since we kind of rebooted the show, anything we did on the old show is totally up for grabs. So it's like clean slate. But I understand you wanted to kind of do your own thing here.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, break some new ground.
Yeah. So Jeremy, what do you think about this movie?
I've seen it 3 times, and the first time, 3 times that I can remember, like all the way through. The first time, it was a theater, which this is a fucking theater movie. Like, if you ever get a chance to see this as a re-release in a theater, like that's the way to watch this movie. So yeah, I was fucking blown away by it the first time. Second time, I didn't like it as much because I feel like the score is weak. And just and I think that's the thing that stood out to me. And then the third time I watched it was today, and I was like, nah, this movie fucking rules. So 2 out of the 3 times I've seen it, I loved it. One of the times I was a little, I don't know. I have a second watch thing where I like things less on the second watch, or maybe more critical. You're less assaulted by everything. But nah, yeah, I don't know. This movie rules. I think that's about as good a sentence review I could give it.
Very cool. I totally get the second watch thing. I myself, I'm often kind of like mystified by the theater experience. Like seeing a movie in theaters, I'll like it more than if I watch it on my own TV, because I'll take the experience into account and I'll be just excited. And this was my second watch for Mad Max Fury Road. I saw it the first time in theaters in 2015 with my dad. I went up to Virginia, and saw it with my dad, and it was fucking crazy. I watched all the Mad Max movies like up there to prepare for this, and I was just like, this is crazy. And then I just didn't think about it for 8 years? Jesus.
This came out in 2015, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. 8 years ago. Wow. That seems like a long fucking time. I don't know. That's what's been happening to me with when I'm seeing these movies that came out in 12, 13, 14, 15. And it seems like it was like that just came out, man. Getting older.
No, for sure. I feel that too. I'm like, but it simultaneously feels like it came out last year and it came out like 20 years ago. Like, I don't know how, I think the pandemic has just warped our sense of time completely to where it's like, I can't gauge exactly. I can remember where I was when I saw it, because I did see it in theaters. I just moved back to San Antonio from College Station, where I was living for a little while. So I do remember that, but it's like, yeah, that both feels like it was, like a couple months ago and like a different lifetime ago. I don't know. It's hard to gauge that in my mind, but yeah, it does feel like of that time, because it is, it's an IP movie. It's like it comes off of these, these movies in the 80s, obviously, many years later, but but it's like it does have this like kind of known quantity to it, which it seems like every movie kind of needs now to kind of sell itself. Which I normally kind of buck against, but I have not seen any of the 80s movies. I hadn't before that. I still haven't watched any of them. like liking this one so much hasn't made me want to go back and watch the old ones. I don't know. It just hasn't really inspired me to do so. Maybe it's like the Mel Gibson of it all that I'm just kind of like, I'm good. I'm good on that. But
Mel Gibson, man.
Yeah, I don't know. So I've actually not seen them. Jeremy, have you seen the 80s movies?
Well, I'd always seen bits and pieces of them, but Austin told me yesterday, we're doing this, and there was a chance I was maybe gonna have to go to work, but then I didn't have to. So I watched them. I watched them yesterday, and I'd seen them on like, I don't know, like fucking Spike TV when I was a teenager, and like at people's houses, like when I'm drinking or whatever. But I had never sat down and watched the first one all the way through. And yeah, I mean it's a weird franchise altogether. I don't know how much y'all want to get into the franchise of it all, but like I after seeing the first one, and then like I've already seen bits and pieces of the other ones, and I've seen Thunderdome all the way through, or Thunderdome, or the one with fucking Tina and shit. I feel like Fury Road is the fully realized like vision. The technology's there, I mean, it's less like artsy, I think, than like the first one. Like there's just like this really weird vibe to the first one where you're like, I don't really know shit about Australia. It's just what Australia is like. Like there's a really strange vibe to it. This, I think, is the fully realized like vision, and all of it. It's like, metal spikes and fucking post-apocalyptic desert, gasoline. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like this is like the peak of this story, I think. And there's gonna be another one, right? Like next year.
There's supposed to be the Furiosa prequel movie. They're supposed to do that, and then they've had Mad Max 5, The Wasteland, on the books for another decade. So George Miller keeps succeeding and then getting like nothing out of it. It's so strange. And the cool thing about the Mad Max movies is they're all pretty standalone. Like you don't have to watch the first 3 Mad Maxes to get this. It doesn't really affect your viewing experience. It's just a great standalone action movie. But I mean, if you're gonna watch any of them, The Road Warrior is the one you should watch. Like that's the cool one. The other two,
I would agree with that. The first one is weird as shit.
It's barely an apocalyptic movie. Like it's just Max as
it's like pre-apocalypse almost. Like it's like just about to collapse. It was like it's almost like he knew he was making a prequel to like another story. That's how it felt watching that movie. It was like it just seems like this movie doesn't make sense without Road Warrior. Like it's like they're just setting a character up, which is weird.
Yeah, it is weird. And then Thunderdome is a freaking just lie. I mean, we get 10 minutes of Thunderdome and then like an hour and a half of Hook, basically. It's so strange. Like Max befriends these kids who like think he's Jesus or something. I don't remember. It's a terrible movie.
I don't know. I don't remember anything from that movie either. That one I didn't I rewatched 1 and 2 yesterday. That I didn't want to watch that one again. I also had to rent it, and I was like, well, I'm not going to rent this and Fury Road. So I skipped that one.
Y'all are really selling me on it here. I can't wait.
I'll say this, Adam. Like, I don't think you would really like. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. I don't want to put words in your mouth or like, but like, it's like Fury Road is just like on top of this aesthetic is also just like a rad fucking action movie. For you, do you think if that action element like was not there, would you still be like, if it was just like a bunch of characters dressed like that, and it was a drama, like would you still watch it?
I mean, I would probably see it, but it wouldn't become one of my favorite movies of like the decade. I mean, no question. I mean, what makes it so cool is the like honestly completely absurd action set pieces that are pretty much practical effects. Like there's not a ton of like kind of CGI like garbage in this, like which I just like push against like completely, and why it's like there's so many movies that I'm like, I mean, it's just like it almost just like all looks the same and just kind of washes over you. I don't really care anymore. But those feel completely like unique and original. I mean, obviously, again, there's a world And I keep saying these 80s movies. I guess the first one did technically come out in 79, but they very much feel like, 80s movies.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, that late 70s, and like there's always that bleed over in between, like
there is.
when shit starts to resemble like the next decade, but also that early decade is resembling the past,
Yeah, that concept is a chapter in a book I'm reading right now. It's called The 90s by Chuck Klosterman. It's absolutely fantastic. But it's like, what exactly is the 90s? Like, you could make the case that it goes like up until like 9/11, even though that's technically not the 90s, but that's neither here nor there. No, I think, I would not like it as much if it didn't have the action elements, which is weird because I'm not like particularly a huge action fan. But this one is just done. It's so unique and so, the practical effects side of it, I think, is what sells it for me. It's like that. Plus the performances. Like I think like Charlize is like amazing in this. I think there's a performance element to the characters and like a minimalism to like the dialogue that I just really like. I find really interesting. It really creates a world,
Especially the dialogue. I feel like that's how people would talk if it's been like 30 years since the apocalypse. Like no one's having conversations anymore. You're just grunting at each other, and it's the most like accurate depiction of like an apocalypse that I've ever seen. Like, this is what would happen. People lose their goddamn minds, kill each other over water, and grunt and shriek at one another. Like totally
water wars.
I think that's a good point. I think that's a good point. And they nail that part of it, because it's like how do we get like how we talk and things like that? Like we get it from movies, TV, having these long conversations with people. Like the reason people have accents, the reason people speak in like inflections and different tones that they do is because it's like learned behavior from like all of their influences, right? So if your influences are just like the desert and like one or two people that you come across, it's like, you're not going to have this like robust vocabulary, and then like in the case of the like his like 5 wives, I mean, they're just kind of secluded in this like little like space. It's like they're just like stunted. They're almost this arrested development thing. So I think that whole part of it.
So I'd say the wives seem to have like the most. They seem to be like educated almost a little bit. Like maybe they got books up there.
I think they do. I think they do.
They're the only ones who really seem to like talk about anything other than like, hey, let's go get bullets and gas.
Yes,
and
but they act like almost like middle school kids. You know what I mean? Like they're educated.
Yeah. Like stunted, I guess was the word he used. Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
Yeah,
those wives, man. I didn't realize the wives that there's all these like actors that I'm like, oh, it's this person. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they've all gone on to like do stuff. Yeah.
Zoe Kravitz is one of them, I think. Like,
Zoe Kravitz.
Yeah.
Something Huntington. Something I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I guess I don't know all of them. I don't.
Well, no, we can go through them later and really talk about each one. But I think they really like they bring something each kind of unique to the table. And are named after kind of weird. I mean, it's funny just like looking at the names of these people on this, like, and that's another thing too that would change, right? As time goes on, like we'd shorten people's names. We wouldn't have these like like historic last names like Johnson, like ours. It's like you would kind of change it to just whatever. I mean, like Nicholas Holt's character is just Nux. There's just nothing else to it. So I think that's something that they've nailed as well, is like the aesthetic in the world and just everything about kind of like the naming of the people, how they interact with each other is really. Especially ones who have been like really influenced by essentially a dictator, in Immortan Joe. So I think that the world was created really well.
For sure. I want more of it, and I feel like everyone else does too. But definitely, George Miller can't seem to make that happen. So strange.
The hell, George?
Yeah, I mean, he got that Genie movie off the ground that like I'm the only person who saw. Did you guys see that 3,000 Years of Longing?
What? I don't even know what you're talking about.
Yeah, exactly. Nobody saw that. It came out last year.
I feel like you're making this up.
He was Tilda Swinton finds a genie. And, Idris Elba.
Yeah.
It's like is it like a Disney movie?
No, it was an R-rated
about like a
fantasy drama
character.
It didn't do well. It was like an anthology.
Oh,
movie.
I know what you're talking. I've seen the poster for that, and many times just scrolled right over it and been like, "What's this? Who gives a shit?" I now I know what that is. I guess. Okay.
That's what George Miller did instead of Mad Max 5.
Oh, okay. Well, what the fuck? Well, yeah. I mean, there. It has that same thing that like a lot of horror movies. I feel like a lot of horror movies have this. The ones that I really like like Hereditary, for example, to say like a recent fucking banger of a horror movie. It's got this lore that's like deep, but like you only get like just a little piece of it, and then you're left to kind of like fill in the gaps yourself. It never does this thing that like a lot of anime and like video games does, where they will just dump, like, call it lore dumping, right? Where a character will just be like, this is how everything in this world works, like, and it's this long fucking exposition about like, history of the world we live in. Like, we're just slowly introduced, for like in Fury Road, like the war boy culture, like they have their own culture, and they're like Valhalla thing, and they're like, they have this thing they say, I am awaited, like it's like, oh dude, they have this, they're all fucking brainwashed, right? Like, and Morton Joe has this like propaganda machine that like the Valhalla, I am awaited, witness me, they have their own little like religion that just makes them do whatever Morton Joe needs them to do in their half-life, but that's slowly revealed to us over time through dialogue and seeing things happen, And I think, and the other Mad Max movies have that too. I think that we're just slowly, it's like, what does it call? Like, we're like drip fed the lore, and it's fucking great, I think.
Yeah, that's a huge element that I responded to as well. It's like, okay, we're gonna drop you in this world and just figure it out. Like, we're not gonna like spell it out for you. Okay, 5,000 years after this happened, and then this person has this power, and this person. It's just, hey, here's the world, here's Max, figure out what's gonna happen from here. With like our little clues, classic like show don't tell stuff, and I think it's really well done in this movie.
Yeah, I agree. I do miss, Road Warrior has the villain of Road Warrior is a guy named the Humongous, and he's introduced as the Ayatollah of rock and rolla, and that might be the best character introduction in movie history. And Morton Joe has an element to that. This worshipped tyrannical sadist who everyone here will die for unless they have an opportunity to kill him, in which case they will take it.
Yeah.
I love that. The villains of this franchise are over the top as much as possible, and it's just fantastic.
Well, they're also there's a goofiness to them too.
Yeah.
There's a sense of humor about them, like especially at like Morton Joe's sons, and like,
yes,
yeah. And then the last guy was just called Humongous, and he's just like this big doofy guy, like who everybody fucking there's just like this alpha male apex thing where like everyone worships this person.
Absolutely. And I wonder if that's like, the Australian aesthetic of the film. It's like, it's not taking itself too seriously. This could very well not even be post-apocalyptic. This could just be Australia dealing with its own like lack of gasoline and water, and the rest of the world is fine.
I've thought about that too. I'm like, there are moments that obviously it's, we'll get into this, but I think it's shot in Namibia, and the Namib desert, but like, it certainly feels like we're down under, I mean, it's like that. I think that's the whole point. It's like we're supposed to feel like, hey, we're in, deep in the outback. We're and yeah, there's just like there's some lines and kind of like I don't know, sensibilities that are like very Australian that I think it like make the movie like a lot more fun. And yeah, and part of it is that kind of like that humor, I think. And it's like, yeah, we know this is kind of ridiculous, but like, come along for the ride with us. I think that's kind of fun.
Yeah, for sure. If it was too serious, everyone would be like, this is too much. It needs to be goofy to be accessible.
Yes, for sure.
Kick ass. So I have a question. I'm curious about what you guys think about this. What are your thoughts on belated sequels? Because it took 30 years to get Mad Max 4. There's a 30-year gap between Thunderdome and Fury Road. And yet this was very well received. And you don't often get the well-received belated sequel.
Do you think this is a sequel? Like, I've always thought
part of the same franchise. The Mad Max films are not like, there's not really a continuity. It's just, a thematic like part 4 of this franchise.
Yeah,
like, there wasn't like story threads from Thunderdome that needed to be written. Like that wasn't. Yeah.
I don't know.
I see exactly this one as separate.
Go ahead, Jeremy.
Yeah, I just see this one. I've always seen this one as separate because I don't know. It just feels so much different. And I mean, I guess you'd have to hear it from the man himself. Like if George Miller was like, "This is a direct sequel," and maybe that's something that you're referring to, Connor. But I never really saw it as a same. Like it's still like, it shows us that there's some kind of child in Max's past that like he feels responsible for their death. Like, and there's a couple of moments where you see like this child has been run over or something, like, which is what happens in um the original Mad Max. So I felt like it was just like, okay, it's the same exact story, but like we're just like starting over. But I don't know. I guess that's a good point too, Connor. If you're just saying that like it doesn't really matter anyways, like it's like, or it's kind of like a superhero comic book in that way, where it's just like here's the character. Some of the things that you understand about the character are the same. Here's the story. Shut the fuck up.
That's how I think of it. It's clearly, I mean, because it's the same thing. It's right. It's like Mad Max, colon like this, like it, like it's of the same world. It's like obviously it's a new Max. It's a new, rightfully so. Like, I mean, all that stuff like makes sense to me. But I will say, I don't know if we were going to get into this. It's not exactly the only thing in the 30 years between in the Mad Max universe, because the California Love Tupac video is basically based off of a Mad Max like war rig, like chase. If you ever have seen the video for California Love by Tupac, it's basically, it's 1995.
There is. I mean, if we're talking about California Love, like, I mean, there's tons of shit that pulls from Mad Max.
Sure, that's just like the big one that I noticed. But
yeah, California Love. Yeah, Mad Max, California Love 2.
Mad Max, Tupac Shakur. Yeah.
Yeah.
So no, anyway, but no, I view them as, I mean, I haven't seen the other ones, but like they're kind of just in the same world. Like I think that comic book thing is the good example of just like, yep, like these characters generally, like let's just kind of like tell a different story with them.
Yeah, the actor's different. It's Tom Hardy this time, but like
it is. I noticed that.
Good. Glad you were paying attention.
A keen eye there, Jeremy.
Yes.
But thematically, it's supposed to be the same Max from Mad Max, Road Warrior, and Thunderdome. This is his, fourth adventure that we've seen. So I think it is supposed to be the same continuity, but the stories are also wildly different that it really doesn't matter.
Okay. Well, if you could, do you have an example of another like belated sequel? I know that there's so many. I guess like would like Prometheus be one?
Yeah.
Or like
that
Covenant, Prometheus and Covenant. I don't know. I mean, it's kind of like a band that you really like, that their heyday was in whatever decade, 20 years ago, and they put the record out, and it's like, this is like them, but it's also like kind of played out. But sometimes it's great. I don't know. I mean, I think what I'm going to think about it is going to depend solely on the quality of the product, right? I mean,
yeah,
Fury Road is dope. Like I actually like Prometheus. I know a lot of people didn't like Prometheus, but
I think that's a good example.
I don't remember liking Covenant. I can't remember anything about it. But does Covenant count? Because that's like the sequel of the belated sequel. I don't know. Give me another one. What's another one here, Connor?
All right, I got one. A good recent example. Scream 5. 11-year gap between 4 and 5. New filmmaker, continuing in that same continuity, but also trying to establish new characters and a new story. That was very well received. People, love that. It got a sequel, Scream 6, which is also pretty cool. So, but then
I didn't know that was out.
Yeah, it was really good. But you've also got like Dumb and Dumber 2.
Yeah.
Which
I mean, I never saw that.
Yeah.
There are some franchises, I think, in my head, there's a clear line between a franchise that I will fuck with again, and I think it's going to be solely on the nature of what that franchise is like. So, like Scream, that they're just like, I mean, 3 and 4. Like, I actually just recently rewatched all 5 of those, like last week. I'd never seen 3 and 4. 3 and 4 are pretty bad. 1, 2. I mean, 1's great. 2's a good sequel, and I mean they just keep building off, and they're just like more inane than the last one. And 5 does that. Like, I mean, there's that scene in 5 where like that character is watching Scream while, or like not, what is it?
Stab,
right? Is the in-universe movie. She's watching the scene from Scream that is in the Stab, and screaming at the character who's screaming at the character. It's just like this layered scene of like, and the killer is actually sneaking up behind her at the same time as she's screaming at the character on the screen. who's screaming at another character on the screen while you know the scene I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, like, I'm always gonna watch movies like that because it's just gonna keep building and be more ridiculous than the last, and I think that's what Mad Max was always gonna do. It's just like this kind of ridiculous post-apocalyptic world that's just brutal as hell. Like, that's what it's gonna be. So I think, yeah, it depends on the nature of the franchise. Like I've heard that they're trying to make more Lord of the Rings movies. And I don't know if you'd call those belated sequels, but like I'm not looking forward to that. Like, because that's going to be self-serious the way Lord of the Rings is, and it's like I just don't trust that that's going to be. I don't know. So that's an answer right there. It depends on the nature of the franchise, I guess. I mean, it's a pretty long answer, but it depends, Connor.
Yeah. Well, I think that for me, like the amount of time between franchise installments shouldn't matter if the product is made for the right reasons. You can always tell a cash grab. You can always tell when a movie was made just to cash in. Like these Lord of the Rings movies they're considering rebooting Harry Potter as a series. Like none of those are, creatively driven decisions. They're all financially driven. They just want to make $1. They don't give a shit what the quality of the product is. George Miller believed in this fucker for 30 years. He wanted to make this his way, his vision properly. So you can tell. So for me, that's what it is. It's money versus, creativity.
I think that's a good way to phrase it.
That is a great way. I hadn't really thought of that angle.
I don't know how much I want to go into like the actual movie itself on this one because like it's not. I mean, not very much time passes in this movie. And it's like I want to say like not a lot happens. I mean, obviously there's like these incredibly dramatic like chase sequences, but like in reality, I mean, like it's not like, oh my gosh, we just have to take you through the plot of this movie because it's just so plot heavy. It's like it's not really. It's just like these people have a goal. They're trying to get somewhere. These people are trying to stop them. There's a guy who is kind of in charge of this whole world, but like he can kind of feel it crumbling a little bit. So he's trying to maintain that control. It's like there's not like a C, D, E, and F plot. It's like it's just kind of like relatively simple, straightforward story, but it's done well. I mean, the story is good. It's effective. I mean, that's not to deny it. But it's just like I don't know. Like I don't think we need to go beat for beat. I mean, maybe when we talk about the scenes, I think that's kind of what we can get the gist of the movie because it's really not that many scenes. The movie itself, it's 2 hours. That's another thing too. This could be like 3 hours long and like really drawn out and kind of like boring and like Jeremy said, it can be filled with all this lore, talking all this stuff. It's like it's a very lean 2 hour movie. Like it's I mean, when you take out the credits, it's like hour 53. It's like that's impressive to tell this big of a story this well in that little time.
Well, like you said, the story is pretty self-contained, and Miller takes a less is more approach to the story, but he puts everything into his set pieces, and in what we get is a lean and mean killer action movie that has really lasted. And in terms of going through the plot, I think when we do our awards, that'll just kind of happen organically.
Yeah, I figured it would. Yeah,
cool. So let's talk production. Fury Road is the fourth installment of George Miller's Mad Max franchise after 1979's Mad Max, 1981's The Road Warrior, and 1985's Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome. 2 men enter, 1 man leaves. Miller had been trying to get Fury Road made since he conceived the plot in 1987. He finally got the film into the pre-production stage in 2000 with Mel Gibson set to reprise his role as Max Rokitansky. And then 9/11 happened. The resulting economic catastrophe caused the Australian dollar to balloon along with Miller's budget, so they halted production. Didn't realize 9/11 had an impact on the production of Fury Road.
Yeah, I also didn't know Mel Gibson was gonna come back ever.
Yeah,
I guess that wasn't really on my mind in 01. Wasn't really thinking about any of this.
Yeah. Well, the reason Gibson ended up not coming back is the reason we all think he didn't come back for, and we're going to get to that in a second. The subsequent Iraq
war. Do we have to?
Why?
What did Mel do that was so bad? Oh.
No, not Mel. Mel the Passion Gibson, man. Come on, what? Mel's
Riggs
my boy.
was framed.
Drag across concrete. Drag across concrete. Get the gringo. man. He's still killing it, bro.
Yeah, he's one of the few people who just like keeps getting free passes. It's kind of weird. Like, other people will get like canceled immediately if they said half the shit this guy said in front of a camera. But Mel Gibson,
I think that people don't. I don't think his fame really like carried over to Gen Z. They don't give a fuck about him, right?
No,
like
that's true.
No,
I mean they don't. I mean, it's just true. Yeah,
they don't. Yeah, so I think to effectively cancel somebody, Gen Z as they're approaching their 30s. You know what I mean? Like some of them are getting older now. You need Gen Z on your side. If you want to effectively cancel somebody, that's a massive part of the consumer base and social media presence. So, if Gen Z doesn't give a fuck about somebody, then they're I guess they have like some kind of armor, cancel armor.
Yeah.
Which,
yeah, that is weird. I never would have thought.
It could also be because he's a white guy, but I mean, a lot of white guys get canceled now, because I don't know.
Yeah, we'll get to Mel's whole first.
We'll get to that.
His first strike. We'll get to Mel's first strike in a bit here. The Iraq War happened. That caused issues with shooting as well. They were shooting in Namibia, and they didn't want to risk anything at the time. Studios were, hesitant at the time. So with nothing else to do, Miller ended up committing to another project, which was the 2006 animated flick Happy Feet, which he directed.
That's so funny. That's what he
George Miller?
To.
Yeah, George Miller directed and won an Oscar for Happy Feet.
It's such a wild pivot. Like, well, this Mad Max thing is not happening. I guess I'll turn to Happy Feet. That other iron in the fire that I have.
Dancing fucking penguin.
He'd already booked the studio to do the digital work. So he was like, well, shit. All right. I guess I'll go handle that.
I can hear him pitching that to his team. Just like, it's like, I know the direction to go now. Penguins. We got Pebble and the Penguin. You've got March of the Penguins. Was March of the Penguins out yet?
Yeah, that was kind of the beginning of this whole thing.
There's a few different penguin.
There was Surf's Up. Remember the surfing penguin?
Surf's Up. Yeah, but there's a penguin in that. Yeah. I'm sure there's more.
Yeah, they had somebody on his staff that was just like, really? Okay. Like, all right.
George Miller has one of the weirdest filmographies ever because there's the Mad Max franchise, there's Happy Feet, there's that Genie movie, and he also did Babe, the pig movie from '95. Yes. That's him too.
Yes.
Oh, he has a thing. He likes like cutesy stuff, and then also like grease and gasoline and fire.
Yeah. Talking animals and post-apocalyptic carnage are his two like niches, and that's such all right.
Well, he better fucking combine the two before he dies, man.
He's a man of simple pleasures.
A talking animal post-apocalyptic movie.
If I don't see a talking kangaroo driving a giant truck in part 5, I'm not going to see it.
With a koala bear chasing it. Yeah.
I just do fucking animated Mad Max, but it's all talking anthropomorphic animals. It's Mad Max is like a koala or something.
Zootopia Fury Road. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Instant $1 billion grosser. That'd be everyone would see that.
So much money, man. Fuck. We could do it.
We could do it, yeah. Oh man.
We're gonna beat George Miller to the punch. And Disney. Disney's gonna Disney would probably just sue us into fucking oblivion. Anyways.
Yeah. They're going to take down like a daycare center and like a cemetery. They'll take us out with no problem.
You saw that John Oliver bit?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty good. This cemetery, I was like, wow, that's wild. Yeah.
That is some cold-hearted shit.
Yes, it is.
My God.
But not surprising.
No, not surprising. Don't challenge the House of Mouse. You'll lose every time.
Yeah. Yep.
So by the time Miller was ready to get back on track with Fury Road, he'd done Happy Feet, he won his Oscar. It was time to move on to his other passion project. Mel Gibson had a big hiccup in his career and his personal life when he was arrested for a DUI and made several anti-Semitic and sexist remarks. Suddenly, Mel Gibson was not hireable for a while.
What year was that arrest?
2006.
Okay.
This was right after Passion of the Christ.
That's
which
right.
is I love that.
Yeah.
And he said he called the female cop sugar tits, and then went on TV and made the most half-assed apology I've ever seen.
Yeah, because I was gonna say, I remember the lead up of like the Passion, like it wasn't a story then. It must have been after, like you said, right? Just after. Because yeah, I was like, that wasn't like a thing, because like that would have been a bigger deal. I was like, oh man, this guy who's like, directed this like biblical movie, it's like all of a sudden, dealt with all this stuff. It's like,
Well,
I mean, yeah.
I thought that the reason why people were saying that he hated Jewish people is because he made this movie about Jewish people killing Jesus Christ. Like, I didn't know he had like had that rant, because I was, I mean, what was I? What would I have been like? In 06, I would have been 14. Is that right?
Yeah,
Not old enough to have understood that, but
we weren't necessarily like, like. I mean, I definitely.
I just didn't understand. I was like, what? Yeah. Like, I just don't get why they hate him. Is it because I thought it was because he made that movie? Like, I thought it's because of that movie.
No.
Yeah, there was the movie, and then there was him saying, and I quote, "Jews are responsible for all the world's wars." That didn't help. Yeah, and then the apology. The apology is fucking hilarious because he does not care. He does not. There's no remorse in his body at all, and everyone knows it. They're just trying to get through it.
I'm surprised. Well, maybe they have. Maybe I've blocked all this stuff out. Have him and Kanye not like collaborated on anything? Like, have they not like hung out or like had some sit down or like, I mean, genuinely, like I'm actually surprised that has not happened. Like that's
Kanye kind of like Gibson kind of, passed the anti-Semitic baton to Kanye West. There's always one person every decade or so.
No, I think there's well enough anti-Semitic people in both of their fields to like, they don't need to go outside of their fields to like, I mean, there's enough in the music industry and there's enough in Hollywood, they could just, they don't need each other.
You're saying they get plenty of support in their own little circle? That's like they don't.
I'm saying they can do bad all by themselves.
It's an echo chamber.
Each other's help.
Wow, that's horrible.
Well, I know Mel's currently ramping up production on Passion 2, so maybe something else will happen.
Is that serious? For real?
He's doing the resurrection, yeah.
Oh, wow. I didn't I thought that was just a bit. I was like, that's funny. Yeah.
It was a Family Guy joke, but now it's real.
I feel like that it's still a bit when you're like, yeah, he's doing the resurrection. What a fucking joke, dude.
Back from the dead.
Well, yeah. Well, are you talking about that Family Guy with like, it's like Chris Tucker and he's like, Passion 2, crucify this.
Yeah. Let he who is without sin kick the first ass. Yeah, I remember that.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. Mel apparently didn't get the joke because Passion 2 comes out in the next couple of years.
How about that?
Yeah.
What's it going to be called?
I think it is called like Passion 2, the Resurrection.
Is it Jim Caviezel?
Yeah, he's probably back too. He's not doing anything.
Well, he
was available.
He's got in trouble for saying fucked up shit too, I think. Well, I don't know, man. I mean, he's how I mean, what is he, fucking like 15 years older now? I mean,
yeah. Well, yeah, at least, yeah.
When you come back from the dead, there's a little age on you.
Yeah.
They lost something. It's like,
been through some shit.
I've only been in there for 3 days. He was like, get out of town.
Well, I mean, if they use like the de-age tech, I mean, won't that kind of be reinforced by like the halo effect? So Jesus will just look weird anyway.
Yeah. No, I think it'll be.
Yeah, fun. I mean, he's come back from the dead, so yeah. I guess all bets are off, anyways. Yeah. The de-age effect. So they just essentially don't have to try that hard with the de-aging to make it look like, when I was watching The Irishman, and I was like, man, Robert De Niro looks weird as fuck, like the whole movie. And like the way he's moving doesn't match up with the way his face looks. So yeah, I guess they just won't have to worry about any of that because he came back from the dead. All bets are off.
Yeah,
but yeah, I don't know if I'm going to see that one.
I still haven't seen The Passion of the Christ. I've seen The Last Temptation of Christ, and I enjoyed that. So I'm good on my Jesus movies right now.
I mean, it's okay. I mean, it's not a bad movie. I don't think. I don't know. I
just don't want to see Jesus get like tortured for 2 hours. I don't find that appealing.
Yeah, there's definitely the like torture porn aspect of it. Like it's like Saw, but it's also like this like world global icon that mean, yeah, I don't know. I get why someone wouldn't want to watch it. No doubt. But
Well,
yeah, yeah. The second one probably won't be that violent though, right? I mean,
yeah. I don't know what happens like in the Bible after the resurrection. I always thought that was like the end of the book, but I don't know.
No, that's
I never read the book, so I don't know.
There's a lot more
to go. Yeah,
there's a whole lot more after that.
That's not the final season. It got renewed.
It is not. There's a whole other testament.
Yeah. Yeah. The show just wasn't the same after Jesus left. After they lost Jesus, man, it just wasn't the same. They should have canceled the show after season 9.
I actually was thinking about this the other day. Though it's like I'm actually surprised nobody. I mean, I guess maybe there's been like attempts. Like no like streamer or something like that has tried to do like a genuine like almost like like kind of hard hitting take on like the biblical story. Like I mean, it's just like we talk about like people that need IP and like I mean, there's just this endless well of like stories and like things to use. Like I mean, you could just go this chronological thing. It's like that would be like 15 seasons. Like you could fill up so much show. But
what would you call it? The Bible? I mean,
yeah.
Would it be like sexy? I mean, like that's what people want in the TV shows, right? I mean, you gotta have like a lot of. You gotta have a lot of. I mean, yes, there's a lot of sexy things that happen in the Bible,
it certainly could be. Yeah.
I mean, it would just drive. I mean, it would just drive way too many people fucking insane. It would drive like, it would drive the Christian communities. Most of them would, they lose their minds. Then other people would be like, "Get this, fucking religious right trash off my Netflix," or whatever.
Are we talking like King James Bible, or are we talking like there's so many different interpretations where it's like, which one do you make the show out of?
Well, I mean, you wouldn't make the show out of one of them. You would do your own interpretation. So it would be as canonical as King James. It'd be like, oh, where'd you get that quote from the Netflix version?
I'm more mean
how strong streaming Bible would be.
The stories, there's so many stories. It's like it's not necessarily like oh let's like shove this like ideology down your throat. Like that's not what I mean. I don't really.
That's how it would be seen, though. I think. Yeah, I get what you're saying. I mean, like just an episode of like Samson. Hell, like man, you do a 5-episode arc on Samson, and that's like a dope. That's a dope story. Yeah. And that's just like one of the passages in Judges. Like, there's several stories in Judges that could make for an entire
King David.
TV. So sure, maybe that is what they should do. Just make just Judges.
Yeah,
just do that whole book.
It's in a world where we're looking for so much like story and like like what's something that we can like sell. It's like I mean, why? It's like well, that's like the ultimate thing. It's like the most popular book like in the last 2,000 years. It's like why not use those stories to tell this like kind of crazy narrative.
It's definitely because of the religious aspect. There's no
sure, yeah. But I think there's a way to make it where it's like you can almost like remove that part of it. It's like it really is just telling the stories, because some of the stories really are like incredible.
I disagree. I just don't. I think it's just too wrapped up in like too much. I think that they could do it and it would be like they could make it good, but I don't think it would be successful. Do you
don't think people would receive it that way? I think it could be made that way. I don't think people would receive it that way. Is that what you're saying?
I just don't think it would be like very successful, and I don't think that you could. I don't think you could. I mean, in theory, you could get this cast and the crew for the show. I don't think like people would really want to touch it either, though. So I feel like they just kind of be taking the cast and the crew, taking what they could get. When it's just maybe not the right person for the role or whatever. Like, I just think
that's fair.
It would be like, it'd just be too big of a thing. Because I mean, you're saying like, why has nobody ever done it? I mean, people have done it, but normally it's for like, to watch in church and shit. You know what I mean?
Yes, and I've seen a couple of those, and like we had to watch it like our private school growing up, and it's like these are like horrible movies, like horribly acted, horribly. It's like the story is like interesting, like if you told this in like maybe a more modern light or with some really good, actors like to play with, it's like that this could be pretty cool, but. I don't know. Yeah, you're probably right. I think it could be really, really well made. Like if you got, freaking. Let's get, season 1 could be directed by, I don't know. I'm just trying to think of like random people. I mean, George Miller certainly has a biblical, like, tint to some of his like big stories. It's like that could.
It all comes back to George Miller.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we've gone pretty far away from Mad Max, but I think if you got different people to tell the different stories, it can be made really well. But I do think you're right. It probably would not be received the way it's supposed to. It'd be received either too far one way or too far the other way, and then end up being rejected by most people. So Anyway, but no, we should get back to Mad Max because there's still plenty to talk about in this movie. Connor,
Yeah,
what do you
we're
want
talking about?
Real quick,
We're talking about season 1 of the Bible.
I do want to
Bible,
point out real quick that History Channel did do this.
Okay.
They did a Bible miniseries called The Bible in 2013. That was 10 episodes that covered creation to the crucifixion. And then they did a sequel miniseries called AD, The Bible Continues, that then followed off the crucifixion.
Okay. So yeah, man, they're trying to cover.
Connor had the answer the whole time. If we just would have shut the fuck up.
I was trying to be like, I was trying to wait for my moment. It just never came.
That's somewhat what I'm talking about. But it's like it's still History Channel. Like
it's History
HBO.
Channel. It's not the same thing.
Yeah, like I'm saying, like HBO should take a swing at this. You know what I mean? Like
it was a narrative. It was just on the History Channel.
Yeah.
A sexy version of the Bible.
You know? Yeah. The Bible after dark. You know,
like that seems like some shit that would be like in a fictional universe, like, you know, that there is a sexy TV show with the Bible story.
Anyway,
but we'll see, man. It could happen.
Apparently, it has.
Yeah. Well, so ultimately, Miller decided to soldier on without Gibson, who they both agreed had become too old to play the part anyway. So they were just like, "Hey, how about you just walk away from this?" And Gibson was like, "Yeah, I got my own problems, so sure." Miller then considered turning it into an anime-style film and making a video game tie-in in 2008. So that was his like, well, I'll just do it animated. And then he was eventually like, nah, that's a bad idea. So he toyed around with a lot of ideas to do Fury Road and ultimately just kind of went back to the drawing board, settled on his original idea. And that finally went into production in 2010 when British actor Tom Hardy was cast as Max and Charlize Theron was cast as Furiosa. And some of the other finalists for Max were Armie Hammer. Nope.
Yikes. Yikes.
Yeah.
Wait,
I didn't know that. That's crazy.
What'd you say Armie Hammer was?
He was one of the finalists to play Max.
Oh, fucking A. Okay.
Yeah. He recently lost his job selling timeshares in the Caymans. He's living with Robert Downey Jr. now.
Is that what? What does that mean?
He got busted for some really illicit.
He was talking about eating people's hearts and shit or something.
Yeah. Then he was accused of rape by an ex-girlfriend. Then he fled the country, started selling timeshares in the Cayman Islands, and then he lost that job.
That's real. That's not a joke.
No, that really happened. There was a call Army for all your timeshare needs. There was a number you could call. Like he had a legit salesman job in the Caymans. And he lost that. And now he's back in LA living with Robert Downey Jr., who keeps giving people who don't deserve them second chances.
Wow.
Yeah. For a guy who's almost Batman, goddamn.
Robert Downey Jr. has done that for? Are there other people that Robert Downey Jr. has done that for?
Yeah, Mel Gibson.
Oh, what?
Yeah. Because Downey has been at rock bottom, he's been to prison, he's almost lost his career.
Yeah, I figured that's what it was.
He's willing to give people, the benefit of the doubt, even when it's Armie Hammer.
It's like, tell people, I'm gonna eat your heart. Didn't Armie Hammer fucking use Adam? Didn't he use our dad's warehouse as a studio space or some shit?
Yeah. His wife.
He said he would carry a fucking dog around everywhere he went. It was playing around on the shelves and shit.
Yeah. So his wife owns a bakery here in San Antonio, and they used, my dad used to own it, but my uncle owns it now. My dad does something different now, but they have a bakery supply here in San Antonio, and so they would use the lab to test all their stuff, and he would come in all the time, and hang out at the warehouse and with his wife back there, and I believe I'm gonna look it up, but the bakery's still going, it's really successful. It's down kind of close to downtown San Antonio. Yeah, it's still open. Yeah.
Small world.
Oh, you looking it up right now?
I am. Yeah, it's open. So
well, she probably left his ass, right?
I would hope so. I certainly would hope so. Yeah. No, by all accounts, she was great.
Yeah, she had the bakery to fall back on. That's good for her.
Yep. Yeah, definitely.
All right. You said were there other people that
Armie Hammer, Jeremy Renner, Michael Fassbender, Joel Kinnaman, Eric Bana, Eminem, and Heath Ledger before his untimely passing. But yeah, Eminem was heavily considered.
Wow. Wow. Will a real Mad Max please stand up? I like that. That's pretty good. The one that you said that stood out to me that I think could have done a really good job is Michael Fassbender.
Yeah,
I think Jeremy Renner. I think Jeremy Renner out of that list. I could fuck with that. I could see him wearing the mask.
yeah.
I'm mixed on Renner. He's fine.
Fassbender, I feel like, is a tremendous actor who keeps picking terrible projects. I want to, like, what happened to Magneto? You know, the bad guy from 12 Years a Slave, like Steve Jobs. I want that Fassbender back. Like, what happened?
Or Frank. You ever see Frank?
Frank was such a weird movie.
I love Frank. It's one of his best roles, and you never see his fucking face. Yeah. I mean, there's that like Assassin's Creed movie that he did. I mean, he's really good in those alien movies, but it's also like, why are you doing this? Like, what is it that draws you to this? Like, you could just be, I don't know. But yeah, I think Renner for me in that list.
I think Eric Bana, I know he's capable of doing shit like that, like, you know, Chopper, basically. Like, I think he could have done it. But ultimately, Tom Hardy, you know, as the kind of, you know, warrior of few words, I think he does a great job.
Yeah, he's perfect for that role.
The original plan was to shoot 2 films back to back. Miller keeps like having these grandiose, giant plans for this that just keep falling through. He was going to do Fury Road and then a Furiosa movie like at the same time, and that didn't happen the way Miller had planned. But he did eventually film the Furiosa prequel. It's in post production. It's expected next year with Anya Taylor-Joy in the role of Furiosa. So,
oh
yeah,
nah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to see it. I mean, yeah, but
that's the plan now, or
that's done.
Oh,
yeah, that's been filmed. Yeah, they're in post production.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, 2024 release, I believe, is what.
That's a fucking letdown. Because here's another thing about these movies is like sometimes it's like, here we made a shitload of money off this. Now let's do a fucking prequel. Like, I'm not a fan of that. Like, I was like, oh man, I love this thing you just made. You're gonna make more of them, but like, it's not gonna be Tom Hardy, and you know, I don't know. I like that the story ends the way it does, and that like this is kind of just like another adventure. Like you were saying, it's just the adventures of Mad Max, basically. But he's not going to be in it.
No, this is before Furiosa ever.
I'm not a fan of that. I'd rather not watch. I mean, yeah, I think I probably won't see it in theaters, but I'll probably catch it on the streams later.
Well, prequels just they suck all the mystery out of it. Like, we know there's not going to be any stakes. We know she's going to make it out of this alive. Like, there's not going to be any tension.
It's just kind of like I feel like they're going to do a lot of gags where like, oh, is this when she loses her arm? You know, like she'll pull it back a bunch of times or like almost get it cut off. You know, it's a gag from like fucking Hot Tub Time Machine. You know, but I swear to God, they're going to do that joke. Like, they do it all the time. Like, they did it with one of the Marvel movies with Nick Fury when he's younger.
Captain Marvel.
Yeah, Captain Marvel. And then the reason ends up being like super fucking lame, and it's like, oh, it's so funny. It's like, no, it's not. Fuck that. I mean, you know, whatever. Some people like that joke. I didn't like that joke. But yeah, I do, and it's just I don't. I thought when I saw the Furiosa thing, I thought it was going to be like, you know, it was just a continuing of her story, and that Max would
the continued adventures of Furiosa in this world. Yeah, no, that's fair. And I think Charlize probably would have done it. I've seen like clips where people are like, oh, like why aren't you Furiosa? And she's like, oh, I would have done it. You know, like I think she's
George Miller.
yeah, I think she certainly would have, but no, I mean, I'm not, you know, like I'm not thinking it's going to be amazing, but I'm going to see it. George Miller with this movie has earned my trust to be like, and I like Anya Taylor-Joy, so I'm like, yeah, I'll give this a chance. You know, this was such a cool theater movie. You know, hopefully that one will be too. So we'll see, but you know, call me gullible. I don't care.
That's kind of where I'm at too. It's like, I just want more Mad Max. I don't, you know, I'll take what I can get.
We'll see.
Mm-hmm.
So according to Miller, about 90% of the effects in this film were made practically without CGI, including the nutcase with the flaming guitar, which Miller named the Doof Warrior. That's a fully functional flamethrower guitar.
Yeah.
That's fucking beautiful. That's so cool.
It's like what Rammstein does, man. You know that German band?
Yeah,
Yeah, they have flamethrower guitars.
that's cool. I've got some
Yeah, I
German
mean, yeah,
family who go like follow them
it's
on tour
cool.
throughout Europe. She fucking loves Rammstein.
I'm not really a fan of their music, but if I ever get a chance to see them, I like, and it's not too expensive, and it wouldn't be too far away, I would take it just for it. From the videos, it kind of looks like it's like Mad Max Live.
That's awesome.
It should be a thing. Mad Max the musical.
Oh my god, yes, 100%.
I'd fuck with that. Yeah.
Remember they tried to make a Spider-Man Broadway musical, but it was so technically impossible that they like canned it after like a month.
Well, someone died, right? One of the stuntmen died, I think.
Really? I didn't hear about that.
Like fell off of doing a stunt. And wow. that was like it actually I don't even think they canceled after that guy died. It was like that was one of the reasons that led to the cancellation. Maybe it was just a serious injury, but I swear to God, somebody died on the set of Spider-Man the musical.
What? Wow. I didn't know that.
Maybe we should fact check that.
I'm doing that.
To say, I was like, we maybe, yeah.
It's like, yeah, no, he's dead, man. He's fucking dead.
Okay, he didn't die, but he was viciously injured. He jumped from a platform in a rehearsed.
Sorry, listeners.
He plunged 30 feet, multiple broken ribs, substantial bleeding, had to have back surgery. See, I think that they were like, this isn't worth it.
No, definitely not. No. Yeah, I mean, because I don't even want to get into the Spider-Man thing. I mean, I have a lot of thoughts about that, but like we need to just stick with Mad Max. Yeah. That does not seem worth it at all.
No. Mad Max Fury Road ended up being an enormous success. It has an IMDb score of 8.1, Rotten Tomatoes score of 97%. Critics' consensus reads, with exhilarating action and a surprising amount of narrative heft, Mad Max Fury Road brings George Miller's post-apocalyptic franchise roaring vigorously back to life. I agree. That's what happened. The film grossed $415 million on a budget of $150 million, which seems low. I thought this had a much higher box office, but I guess not.
Well, I think because we're just used to just these like absurd amounts in like, you know, Marvel movies and like, you know, Top Gun Maverick and stuff like that. It's like that is a lot. I mean, that's almost $500 million. I mean, it's like our minds are like warped like into like, oh, it must make 1.1 billion to like be successful. You know, like
you're totally right.
It tripled its money on like a very expensive movie. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, it's true.
400 million. That's it.
Yeah.
I don't even remember what number you said now.
I've got fucking mental box office inflation. Like I expect a certain amount of success now. Damn it, Marvel.
Well, Avengers Endgame made way more than that.
This is cool though. It was nominated for 10 Oscars, winning 6. It destroyed the technical awards that night.
Rightfully so. Yeah.
Yeah, it won costume design, film editing, makeup, production design, sound editing, and sound mixing. It was nominated for visual effects, cinematography, best director for George Miller, and best picture. So, fuck yeah, well done. I loved seeing all the like Aussie technical people show up in like jeans and leather jackets to get their Oscars. I thought that was awesome.
Yeah. Continuing the sense of humor and lack of taking it too seriously, you know, from the movie itself. I love that. Yeah,
the film editor was Miller's wife, who just like did it as a favor, and she won an Oscar for it.
Decent, not bad.
Yeah,
pretty cool.
So with that, let's give this film some awards.
Sounds good.
We have the Quentin Tarantino Award for the best line of the film. We have the Thomas Newman Award for the best music moment of the film, the Philip Seymour Hoffman Award for the best performance, and the John Carpenter Award for the best scene. So let's start out with the best line. Adam, why don't you start us out?
So, I'm sure on these, I listened to you guys talk about these before. You don't always want to go with like the one that's like, oh, like it was in the trailer, like it's so obvious and stuff like that. It's like, that's really dumb. And so there's don't want to take it, from you guys, but the what a day, what a lovely day. It's like, but that does hit really hard when it actually happens in the movie. It's like, that's pretty cool. Like it's like as annoying as it is to like kind of want to choose that big one. But I will go to one that I guess in the end I'm trying to remember what her character's name is. The Rosie Huntington Wheatley or Whiteley. character. She says it, but it's written on the wall. Who killed the world in one of the like rooms that they're like housed in up in the front, and then she asks it to one of the like war boys, or it's because you killed the world or something like that. I can't remember exactly what it is, but yeah, who killed the world is like the question written on the wall in one of the rooms that they would keep the 5 wives. So that's what I ended up going with. Who killed the world?
Nice. It's a good question. We never really find out how the world ended in Mad Max, and I like that. It's just, one day Max is a cop, the next day he's a drifter at the end of the world, and we don't need to know any more than that.
The Splendid Engerhard is her name. So,
I was confused because they were saying both of those words. Like at one point, Morton Joe was like Splendid, and then the other characters were like Engerhard.
Yeah.
That's a last name. Okay.
Yeah.
I like that one of them is Toast. I like that.
Yeah.
Zoe Kravitz is named just Toast, right?
Toast the Knowing is her full name. Yeah.
Toast the Knowing.
It sounds like some D&D like seer character.
Yeah. And then Abby Lee is the Dag.
The Dag.
The Dag.
Courtney Eaton is Cheeto the Fragile.
Oh my god.
And then Riley Keough is Capable. Just Capable.
Cheeto the Fragile. Oh boy. Beautiful. And they're all very serious characters too. Like it's not, those aren't like goofy names. These are tortured, sad people.
Like poor souls.
Their lines for me, like most of them fall pretty flat. Like it was something on my second watch that annoyed me. Then on the third one was just like whatever. Like I wish I would have written some of them down just to talk shit, but like yeah, I wasn't really into the wife characters personally.
Okay. Do you have a line for us?
Oh, is it my turn?
Yeah, that's where you were going.
Souls on the Zoom here.
I didn't know it was my turn. I'm sorry. I'm just saying something. I wrote a bunch down. I think I want to go with I think I'm going to go with the bullet farmer. He's like, it's like this scene. They're like, he's shooting these two like handguns that have like super long barrels. And just to be clear, so there's like the Gastown boys, there's like a Morton Joe, and there's like the bullet farmer, and it seems like they all kind of have they work in tandem with each other. I think Morton Joe is like the water guy, Gastown boy, whatever the fuck his name is, he's the gas guy, and then the bullet farmer is the bullet guy. Yep. And he's that old dude. I mean, y'all know what I'm talking about, right?
Yep.
All right. So, and then they're like, "Oh, you're gonna hit the wives," and he's like, "I don't remember what he says." But then, and there's that really cool scene where Furiosa like takes the sniper rifle from Max and like uses his shoulder as a brace and then like blinds him somehow, right? So he's like they're holding that flare up to his face, and he's like, "Where's the flare?" And he's like, "Hold it closer." And he's like, "It's right in front of you." And he's like, "Ah!" So they just put a blindfold on him, and he's like, "Give me those guns." And he says, "I am the scales of justice, conductor of the choir of death. Sing, brother, cook. Sing, brother, sing." And then just starts shooting like fucking like straight at where all of our heroes are. First off, I don't know who the fuck brother Cook is. I don't know why he says that, but like
maybe the explorer.
What?
I imagine that is it Thomas Cook? Is it the explorer that like the Cook Islands are named after out there, like way out in the Pacific?
No, well, see, that's COOK, and the subtitles at least spell it KOCH.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
I was thinking maybe that's like a model of a gun. I don't know shit about guns, but like, yeah. I mean that line kind of comes out of nowhere, like we don't like. And I love how this guy's just like, "All right, I'm blind," so like, he no longer really cares about not killing Morton Joe's wives. I think he maybe never cared, but I don't know. I love this. Like, why the fuck he says this? Like, why they even chose to like put this in the movie? I don't even really know. Like, yeah, I am the scales of justice, conductor of the choir of death. Sing, brother, cook. Sing, brother, sing. The bullet farmer.
Great. Yeah, the bullet farmer is played by Richard Carter. Just to give him some credit.
I almost chose for a second I thought it's a fucking great line.
I thought you that seems like a line you would like also, Connor.
Fucking badass. Like that's some like, we who are about to die salute you, like Roman gladiator shit. Like, where it's just like, come on,
It just comes out of nowhere. Like, it doesn't fit like the vibe of the movie. The score in that moment is like the only time there's ever a motif that's like that. It's kind of just like this super intense like strings. Like most of it is like super percussive, kind of like droney shit for most of the score.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't. This doesn't fit the rest of the movie, but it's a great fucking line. And that guy for, he's a presence. Like the bullet farmer and the Gastown guy are they are a presence when they're on the screen.
For sure.
Man. Like
yeah,
they
the
add
people
so
eater.
much.
The people eater is what they call him.
Oh, the people eater. That's right. Yeah. They're the costumes in this movie, man, add so much.
For sure. Connor, what's yours? What's your line?
All right, yeah.
Mine comes pretty early on. It's from Nux when they're all getting ready to go, and he says, "If I'm gonna die historic on the Fury Road." Yeah, it's just like, oh fuck yeah! Like it sets you up for an epic set piece. Just everyone's getting.
I'm gonna die historic.
Yeah,
fuck yeah, man.
Everyone's getting their gear together. They're strapping the blood bag, which is Max, into the car, and you're just like, what the fuck is about to happen here? And it's great.
Nicholas Hoult on this, like, I don't know, I've probably seen it about 5 times now. Like, he stood out a lot this last time I watched it. I was like, dang, he's really good in this. Like I was super impressed. And yeah, he just has this like energy that just like really adds to the movie. And I think, sets the tone. I would say that first, like, I don't know, 15 minutes is pretty like disorienting and just like, okay, what the heck's going on here? And he's like this chaotic, figure in this weird world that they live in. And he just, he totally like is just come along for the ride. Like he kind of sets the tone for that. So I thought he was really good. And that's a great line. That's a good one from him. He could have had like 4 or 5 different ones he could have chosen. And no, that's a good one.
I'm surprised none of us did Witness Me.
Yeah, that's good too.
Yeah. Which is just various. I guess next to that you would just put various war boys.
I nearly went with Immortan Joe. Just mediocre.
Me too, man.
Yes, that was hilarious.
Yes. Awesome.
And you could just feel his frustration. He's like, "Take this gun and fucking kill her." And he's like, "I got it, man. I got you." And he immediately trips and falls and drops the gun. Like, dude, fucking Nux is a loser, man. Like, he is a loser amongst the war boys. Like, mediocre.
No, that's pretty good.
Oh yeah, the comedic timing in this thing is fucking great. Like right when we need a little levity, we get it.
Yeah. Barry and Larry. Yeah.
Beautiful. All right, the Thomas Newman, the music moment. What do you got, Adam?
So yeah, Jeremy mentioned it earlier about the score. You not really liking it that much, and I like it in moments. I think overall it is a little bit weak, but there are some moments where it kind of soars and it hits pretty hard and it's good. But my favorite actual music moment has got to be the reveal of the guitar guy on top of with the absolute gigantic contraption behind him of all the speakers and the wires and everything, and just him pounding away on this guitar as like war literally is going on around him. That's like just the kind of the coolest music moment of the movie, I thought. Yeah,
just to alleviate any tension, we're getting up to mine. I also went with guitar guy. Yeah, that's fucking.
I also. Well, it's actually it's that like truck in general, but I think
the drums behind.
I didn't notice this before, but like early on in the movie, we see the back of the truck and the drummers are already on the truck. Like later on, they like strap the guy in. What did you say they called him, Connor?
The Doof Warrior.
The Doof Warrior. Yeah, but I'm still going with the the guitar truck. But I think the first time I saw it, the first time I saw this movie, I don't think I was really concerned with like things that you really shouldn't be concerned with. But the second time I watched this, I was watching that guitar player a lot more, and I was like, it looks like the noises that are coming out, he's not really playing, and of course he's not really fucking playing, but like, I don't know, like that thing bothered me a little bit, but it's just too fucking cool to like really give that much of a shit. Yeah, I think specifically I really like the like it was just like I don't this insane amount of like chained like raising and lowering platforms, and then you see the truck coming down and the drums, and they're all banging on the drums already. Like that shit's fucking cool as fuck. But I
Yeah.
do want to say about the score,
Mhm.
like the moment when like that "What a lovely day" line, the score that's going on during that scene where they're driving into the storm. That's the moment when I was like, I don't like the score. It doesn't fucking fit at all. I mean, like, if you ever are watching it again, like, just try to remember this. Like, it's just this really like morose kind of like, and it's just like, why? Like, that's not what I'm feeling right now while I'm watching all these cars and trucks getting ripped apart. Like, I don't know. That's the moment when I decided I didn't like the score, and it changes that "What a lovely day" line. Like, it doesn't hit as hard for me because I'm a little bit sour on what something else that's going on in the overall product. I want to pinpoint that instead of just saying, "Oh, I don't like the score." Like it's that specifically. I just want to be clear.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. The score is pretty unremarkable. I don't know if that's partially why, the Doof Warrior in all his glory stands out as just, our kind of harbinger of music in this crazy world. Like if you want music in Mad Max, if you live there and you want music, you got to go to Guitar Guy. You got to go to the Doof Warrior and watch him, flame on.
Doof Warrior.
Yeah, there's the one of the parts where I like it is where they're more like these kind of like stabs, like these kind of musical stabs when it's like you see someone off in the distance like you didn't notice at first, or like there's like things like that I think are pretty good. Like those kind of little hard, just like guitar and bass, like little stabs they have every once in a while. It's not like the extended periods of the score, but like those parts I think actually kind of fit. And like Jeremy said, I think it actually matches what we're like watching kind of on screen unfold. That's when I think it's pretty good. But
I do like
yeah, go ahead, Connor.
I do like the use of like random pieces of classical music that kind of get inserted into the score. I think that worked really well. It gave this kind of operatic quality to this weird ass world. But the original pieces of music just don't stand out for me.
Yeah, no, I'm with you.
Yeah, I think that's what I'm talking about with that bullet farmer scene. Like, I don't know classical music at all, but it's a piece that I recognize. The string line that's going on behind him when he's yelling that line and just shooting those guns like recklessly. It's some line. I was gonna look up what it was actually called, but you know what? I didn't. Maybe I could do it now, but I don't want to because when I go on the internet, it messes with the screen thing.
All right, well, fair enough.
Let's just not do that. Let's just go on
to the next one.
Just move on.
All right, we'll do it live. The Philip Seymour Hoffman Award, Best Performance. Who won the movie, Adam?
Charlize Theron. Yeah, I thought that's the one that I take away. It's like it really, Hardy is in his kind of like minimalistic, grunting style, which I think a lot of people can take or leave. I generally like it. But I thought she was just fantastic. I mean, really, like she is the movie. She kind of holds it together. She's the emotional heartbeat of it. She's the reason for hope. She's the reason for agony. That she's the kind of reason the whole thing comes together. I thought she was just really, really good. And yeah, would love to see more of her in this role for sure.
Yeah, I think everyone pretty much agreed with you, which is why they were all kind of bummed when she wasn't going to be Furiosa in the prequel. Yeah, right on. Yeah, not going to argue with that. She does a great job. Jeremy, how about you?
I didn't even write. I normally write down like options, but to me, there's no other option than Nicholas Hoult, like who to me easily has best performance. I think is also doing the most acting. I mean, like Charlize Theron is undeniable, and I don't think I disagree with anything Adam said, but she's not really acting much. I don't think like there's not a lot. There's not a lot going on. Like Nicholas Hoult is this like bizarre, otherworldly like being. Yeah, I can't even. There's no one else. Bullet Farmer would be second, I think. I love that Bullet Farmer, man. Yeah, Nicholas Hoult. Nicholas Hoult knocks the war boy. End of his half-life.
I also went with Nicholas Hoult. He's kicking ass. I've never seen him like this before. And I love seeing somebody just go berserk in a crazy world and commit to a character that is so outside the norm of reality. And this war boy who like lives and dies by Immortan Joe, who sprays his mouth with the chrome shit to, be awaited in Valhalla, and then has his like worldview completely shifted and becomes a good guy to like help them take him down. It's like, what? His arc is fucking crazy. And ultimately, he gets what he wants. He, goes to Valhalla in his own way, doing the right thing. And it's such a great character.
What does he say? He just says, "Witness me," before he like flips the truck, right?
Yeah. And the one of the wives reaches towards him.
Right. We're what'd you say her name was, Adam? The capable?
Yeah, capable. Yeah. Just capable. Not even
capable.
the capable.
Okay.
Just
capable. Capable and Nux, star-crossed lovers. What are you gonna do?
Yeah, Riley Keough. Fantastic.
Yeah. I just watched that Daisy Jones show. And that's the last thing I saw with her. Yeah. It's whatever.
Okay. Yeah, so real quick on the wives, but before I forget it, I mean, so it is interesting that like a couple of them are Australian, a couple of them are American, one of them's English. Like I think, and they're kind of all basically doing their own accent. So it's like I found that interesting that there was no need to, and like Charlize is too. Like she's not, she doesn't sound Australian. So it's like I assume like this is in Australia, right? Like I assume that's like what we're kind of like supposed to like. Yeah. I mean, I know it's like
I mean, yeah. That's what all the other ones were. I don't think do they ever tell us that it's in Australia other than the other Mad Max movies being in Australia?
They didn't in this one. No, they don't.
No.
In this one.
Countries don't exist anymore. Like that.
Yeah.
It's Immortan Joe.
But no, I mean they're on that landmass,
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. What was Australia? I guess. Yeah.
I didn't really ever think. I never thought about it before, and I don't even. I mean, I surely noticed it the other times I've watched, but I've never thought about like, why is Charlize Theron not doing an Australian accent in this one? And that was making me think like maybe this is like not supposed to be in Australia, or is it a different timeline in a different place, But like again, I go back to there was like a lot of questions in my notes about like things I didn't really understand, and like this is a really easy movie and a really easy franchise to just not care.
Yeah.
To suspend the disbelief, I guess.
Yes, it's very easy to suspend the disbelief because the world is so unique and it's so well built that I just like don't care about some of the little details like that. Like where I normally might in other movies, I might be like, oh, like why would they have an American accent? Like why would they have an English accent? It's like I just don't care. It's like this world is its own unique world, and I'll go along with it.
Totally agree. I do want to shout out Hugh Keys Byrne, who plays Immortan Joe. He's fucking great. I do love that he was the original villain in the first Mad Max. He played Toe Cutter in the 79 film, and then they got him back to play the villain in this one. Love that. And he commits. Yeah. He's fucking crazy and scary. That's like Bane-looking motherfucker who rules the wasteland.
He's Toe Cutter?
Yeah, he was Toe Cutter.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yeah. You know who he honestly he looks like in this movie is Bowser.
He does kind of Bowser.
Yeah.
It's his like body armor.
The like breastplate, they put on it.
Yeah. I mean,
Bowser was a human being. This is what he looked like.
Never thought of that before, but the second you said that, I was like, yeah, it's the body armor. Duh.
Yeah.
That's cool.
He does look like Bowser. Yeah, that's hilarious. What do you got, Jack Black playing Bowser now?
Yeah.
What do you got any opinions on that? This Mario animated movie?
Nope. I never played Mario. I don't care.
Yeah, Jeremy, we weren't really Nintendo guys growing up. I mean, you became one, I guess. But I just don't know. I have no like strong connection to that world, so I just don't have any real desire to see it. So
yeah, I have no money, so I'm being very choosy about what I go see.
Yeah,
I don't like that it exists.
Okay,
you don't say.
And I don't. Yeah, I don't know.
Is it doing well? I haven't.
Probably.
What?
I said probably. It probably is. I don't know. I mean, it's like kids movies. Like so many kids movies do well just because it's like, yeah,
it's true.
You got a kids like
I don't get the kids to shut up for
quiet for 2 hours. Yeah.
It's Illumination. The Despicable Me people. They make pretty terrible movies, but they always are profitable.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do make a shitload of money. Fucking got to get into that world. Make a sexy animated Bible franchise.
$1 billion idea.
Yeah.
All right, are we on
All
best
right.
scene?
Best scene.
Best scene.
The John Carpenter Award. What's the best scene of the movie?
We probably could just all have the same one. I mean, the road battle that kind of goes into the whatever weather formation that is. I mean, that's absolutely stunning. Like that whole like sequence is just like kind of like breathtaking. It takes us actually. I paused it right, and it kind of ends. It's at the exact 30-minute mark of the movie, and then it takes like a necessary breather after that because that is just like so intense, that entire scene. So yeah, I mean, I think that little stretch, I guess you could call it, from when Nux, they kind of like all decide to go and chase after, and they all kind of meet up in that one point and kind of drive into that weather formation. That whole scene there, I think would be my favorite. It's just, yeah, it's incredible.
Yeah, I agree. I went with the same stretch. That's just epic. And, with Max strapped to the fucking hood of a car with like blood, giving blood to Nux, Cyclone, Doof Warrior, like it's all just working in tandem to be as badass as possible, to just tell you like, you waited 30 years for more Mad Max. Here it is. And yeah, I think it's a great way to just lure you in and keep you there. So yeah, epic scene.
I didn't go with that one, and I actually thought that we would all go with the same one that I went with, and that's the final battle,
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I mean, yeah, in that little canyon, I think that scene and that one faction of like, I don't know if we ever like figure out what their name is, but those guys like the little like motorcycles, like that kind of like help her out briefly, Furiosa out briefly, but then like, like are out for themselves as well too. They're kind of like watching from that, up on high. Like I love like every little pocket, every little corner of this world has like its own unique like little thing. And that's exactly what happened. And when those guys like when they're sitting up there, kind of waiting for action to happen, they're literally just like, what else is there to do? Like they're just sitting there, kind of like just playing with the dirt essentially. And then they hear like, off in the distance, like that stuff going off, and it's like, oh shoot, like it's time to get going here. So,
do they get involved in it?
In that last one, they don't really. Yeah, they don't really. Yeah, but you can
just kind of like, fucking hey, look at that. Yeah, well, I'm trying to understand their motivation. Like, we're not really like, we don't really know exactly what deal Furiosa made with them. It seems like she's like, I will bring you gasoline if you like block the canyon for me, I think is what the deal is.
Yeah.
But it's also like I don't know what, like they weren't like questioning beyond that, and then the moment it changes is when like they can hear what's her name again? Splendid. When they can hear Splendid is when they like decide to turn on her. Like, I don't know. They don't make a lot of sense to me. I've been calling like bike nomads.
Yeah.
Yeah, because she didn't tell them like, I need to transport Immortan Joe's wives that I've stolen. Yeah. Like they didn't want to be involved in that shit.
Yeah, I understand they weren't like, they didn't want that heat, but it's also like, what, I don't know. The deal just doesn't make a lot of sense. Like what they thought Furiosa could get out of it. Maybe that she was just trying to steal a war rig. That's the only thing I could really think of.
Yeah, it's another part of the world that I'm just like, whatever, it's fine. Like I just, it's like the world's cool. It looks cool. That's like a cool little faction in this thing. Like whether it makes perfect sense too. Like one of the goofs, like on IMDb, like if you look at, like I think it's funny, like you talk about Rictus, Jeremy, like pulling out the engine. Someone made a note about how like exhaust engines on trucks like that can get up to like 350 degrees, and like people are constantly like grabbing them, touching them, using them as levers.
Yeah, I actually thought about that too. I was like, I don't know anything about cars, but I was like, I feel like that would be like extremely hot.
Yes, just like
because like there's just yeah.
But it's just like, who cares? Like the world that they live in, that they're so like accustomed to pain that like they wouldn't even notice that shit, or it would be like a gift from Valhalla to hold that engine or some shit like that.
Yeah, definitely the War Boys. Yeah, would just like get off on it and ask Immortan Joe if they could please do it. But also, there's a thing where they're like siphoning gas, like with their like they're using their mouth to siphon gas and spit it into the what is that? What? Do y'all know what they were doing? I mean, I understand the concept is like then they were like racing to see who could do more of it first, like because it was like making them go faster. I don't know. I didn't really understand what was going on there. I mean, but that's again like in just the world of the movie. I was like, yes, like the thing they're doing makes it go faster.
Yeah.
And
yeah, sounds
and
like cool.
they got to do it. They got to do it more than the other guy, and that's it.
I was really like disturbed by the like the mother's milk like assembly of like women just getting like breast pumped to make like the big tank of milk. That freaked me out.
Yeah,
it made
that was
sense
one of the
for
weird
that world, but I was like, I didn't
weird
even see that.
scenes. Well, we see them later. We see the milk ladies later. They're all standing on the balcony like, "You go, Furiosa, you got him, girl." Like, so but it's that's one of the hard things about the transfer of power is you got to have the milk ladies on your side. But also like, why do they do? Well, I don't know. I'm not sure why that was even a thing. But I think that was just like, hey, let's also have this fucking scene with these ladies who are being milked, and then like Joe and his kid are drinking it. Joe's sons are hilarious, by the way. Rictus and the little guy.
Yes.
When he's screaming like, "I had a brother, I had a perfect brother."
yeah, I have a baby brother. Yeah.
Oh, the organic mechanic. I forgot about him.
Yeah, the
their doctor's called the organic mechanic.
Jeremy, I know you guys have been going through this recently, but that's Bear Gerhardt from Fargo season 2.
The whole movie, I was like, I just fucking saw this guy.
Yeah.
Like a bunch, and I can't remember what it was.
That face, like
Fargo, fucking A. Okay.
Yeah, Fargo season 2, one of the best seasons of TV ever, in my opinion. But yeah, no, he's really good. Yeah, the organic mechanic, I love. Yeah, the name, and then the older woman, the keeper of the seeds, and the Valkyrie is like the one that is like uses bait, the like nude woman up in that like that like rafters thing.
Does she survive? She's the one who she gets knocked off, and she's like about to shoot somebody, and then we just don't see her again.
Yeah, I guess she doesn't. I don't know.
Yeah, that was unclear.
It's just weird that she didn't really get a death scene, as she was kind of one of the characters that we could latch onto. Because in that battle sequence, in a lot of battle sequences, it's hard to tell people apart when they don't have something very defining about them. And because she was a lot younger than all the other like mother characters, she was kind of the one that was easiest to latch onto. So I just don't. It was weird. It was weird that they didn't show her like end, or her at the end, like living. Or whatever. I guess it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. Clearly, we have a lot of affinity for this movie.
Definitely.
So let's take a look and see what other people have to say. Let's have a look at what's in the box.
What's in the fucking box? Give me the gun.
So on Letterboxd, this movie's sporting a 4.1 out of 5. Really, really good. That's fantastic. I've got 4 reviews here that I hope y'all will find amusing. This first one's from Casper. The guitar guy is honestly my favorite character. I admire how he was fully unbothered, just legit vibing while everyone else was fighting for their lives. 4.5 stars. Just, yeah. Regardless of the outcome, he's got his guitar. He's happy.
He does, yeah. That's a thought there. He does seem like completely unfazed. I mean, like maybe he's just like on a lot of that spray paint shit or whatever.
Probably, yeah.
Because he seems to be like blinded, right? Like,
yeah, I think he is blinded. Yeah.
I remember reading that character has like a super tragic backstory that you can get into if you want to read that. There's like a whole bunch of lore behind that guy and like how he became the Doof Warrior. I haven't read it because I don't have that kind of time. But
he does get bumped off of his little thing at one point, like and like loses a guitar, and it's like he's just like scrambling until he can like get the guitar back. It's like, okay, now I'm happy again, and like can.
That's all. That's all he needs. He's like, I just want to play my guitar, Dad.
Yeah, that's it.
This next one's from Allred, A-L-O-R. I don't know. This is a great film to watch right before your driving test. 4.5 stars.
I like it.
You're rounding the corner with the cones going, witness me! Fucking awesome.
Grabbing the gear shift, just come on, pulling it out with a knife. Yeah. No, that would be awesome. Yeah. No, it does make you like. I remember thinking that after the theater, like driving home. It's like I just wanted that like pounding music playing and just like that. Yeah, it's like
just driving like getting in a Kia Sentra, just like What a day!
Yeah, I see like one rain cloud in the distance, and oh yes, what a day, what a lovely day. Yeah.
Well, ever say I was one? I mean, I haven't lived in San Antonio for a long time, and I can't remember if this is when I lived there, but there are like these like one. I just saw one time that there's these dirt bike people that just go around on the highway and like do these like tricks and shit. Have y'all ever seen that?
Dirt bike people on the highway? No, I've never seen that.
Yeah, I only saw it one time, so it wasn't like a thing I saw a lot. Like I was like, oh yes, this is a thing that happens a lot. So they may have just been like passing through or something. But it was on a highway I'm not normally on. I think it was 410 maybe.
Okay.
That's the other loop. That's not 1604, right?
Yeah, the inner loop. Yeah.
I think that's where I was. But I've seen that in other cities too. Maybe it's the same people. I don't fucking know. But I know one of my friends sent me a video. He lives in Philly, and he was like, "There's like these dirt bike people. They just like ride around in circles around people and like." Just like whoa, which is more the vibe of like the first Mad Max movie. There's more like giant trucks and semis and shit in Fury Road than still some dope fucking like bike scenes though too. And like the bike guys just rolling by and throwing those like I don't know if they're called thunder spears, but I feel like that's what they're supposed to be called. Those like
should be called.
I
like
that just like fucking explode.
Yeah, those are cool.
There's a stunt in the Road Warrior that actually did kill a stuntman, and they used the stunt in the movie because it was 1981 independent production in Australia, and there weren't laws about that sort of thing. So you actually watch a dude really die on camera.
Wow.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Cool movie though.
Yeah.
Just being honest, to me, Road Warrior is still cool. I don't, sorry. That sounds
insane. Yeah. Guy died.
This next one's from Serrano. Please consult a physician for erections lasting longer than 6 hours.
That's really good.
That's
5 stars.
Good advice.
5 stars.
He didn't give it any stars. He just wanted to give us some advice.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah. What do you have it on Letterboxd, Connor?
4 out of 5.
Let me see what I have. I think I have 4.5.
Nice.
Let me see. Yep, 4.5. 4.5.
Cool.
So, yeah, no, big fan. Yeah, it's a 5-star movie. So
if I have it on here, it's probably from the second time when I was like, this movie's overrated. So let's see.
I will change ratings if I watch it again. I'm like, actually, I like that more or less than I did the first time or whatever. But yeah,
that happened to me recently with I rewatched The Mask of Zorro, which I've always loved, and in this one particular viewing, it was a 10. So I was like, all right, and I nudged it over to 5 stars. I was just like, yep, it finally earned it.
Nice, I like that.
Good movie.
How do you? I don't even. Okay, this is not. I don't know how to find it. Anyways.
Don't lose this on Zoom again.
Yeah, I think I was worried the whole time I was looking at Letterboxd. I was like, it's gonna do it again.
This last one's from Matt Singer, and it's just a really cool quote that kind of describes the movie. You can't find redemption by running away from it. 4.5 stars.
I like that.
Yeah, pretty cool. It's Max, he has some shit to deal with, some shit to answer for, and
got to confront it head on.
Exactly. Yeah, I don't know if this redeems him from his sins that we never really get to see, but I think this will help.
Yeah, no, I like that. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure as we wrap up here, like, there's just a couple of points that I want to make. I think one of the things that, like, again on this, kind of 4th and 5th, rewatch of it, that like hit me is like I think that where it's shot in Namibia, which I think, or I guess for anyone who doesn't know, it's just like a little bit, I guess, kind of northeast or northwest of South Africa. The setting, it's like both like really beautiful at times and then just like totally hopeless. Like it kind of vacillates between just like, wow, what a desolate place. And then like there's scenes like the scene when she kind of like falls to her knees, like that shot, and like the wind's kind of, subtly blowing. You can kind of see sand. It's like, it just looks gorgeous, like, obviously that's a devastating scene for her personally, but yeah, I think that like kind of contrast is like what makes the movie like so fun to look at times. Like, I think They nailed the location scouting big time.
Oh yeah. Well, I'm sure Miller had his eye on Namibia for 30 years.
Yeah.
He scouted the shit out of that location.
Had plenty of time to scout it. Yeah.
Very cool. Any other final thoughts you guys have on Mad Max Fury Road?
Jeremy, you got anything?
No. Nope. I just wish that I wish there was more of it.
Yeah.
I'll say that. I wish there was just more of this, like that team,
Yeah, this world.
Like,
yeah.
Well, I did talk a little bit of shit about like the characters of the wives and like, it's still like it's very much like something that like would have hit me different in like a graphic novel setting. Like I do love that crew of Max and Furiosa, the wives, and Nux, like it's a great fucking crew. And only made better by these like old ladies who were like badass as fuck.
Mm-hmm.
But there's something so great about how sweet like stories are. Like shows run too long. I'm like, they should have stopped at one season. But then like this movie, I'm like, I want more. Like I mean, just never gonna be happy about anything. But like, it as much as it is not like concerned with this big sweeping narrative or like story arc, it is a fucking great story, as contained as it is, and with great characters and in a world that jumps right off the fucking screen. That I mean, you're saying something about how they did so much with an hour 53. Like they did do so much with like a pretty sparse setting and not a lot of time. Yeah, I wish there was more. I'll leave it at that then.
Yeah, cool. Hopefully Mad Max The Wasteland gets out of production hell in our lifetime.
That would be nice.
That would be nice. Thanks for listening, everybody. If you like the show, feel free to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Filmgazm Productions. If you want to suggest films for us to check out, you can email us at filmgazm@gmail.com, or, of course, send us a message through the socials. Check out our Letterboxd accounts for daily reviews. You can search me at Connor95, and in my friends list, you can find the rest of the team. Check out our website, filmgazm.com, where I have a link to that letterbox if you want to read reviews. And you can also find articles, trailers of upcoming films, and every episode of our show. If you'd like to become a monthly donor to Filmgazm Productions, feel free to click on the link in the episode description. From there, click on Support This Podcast. You can choose to donate $1 a month, $5 a month, or $10 a month. We appreciate any donations that you think we deserve. It all goes right back into the podcast. Thanks to the entire Filmgazm team for their constant friendship and contributions to the show. Austin Johnson, Caleb Leger, Josh Allred, Colton Jenkins, Cristian Aguilar, Isabel Gonzalez, Jeremy Johnson, Adam Johnson, and Mysia Pierce-Lewis. Thanks to Cooley Cow for our awesome theme music, and thanks to you for checking out our show. Don't abscond with any warlords' wives this week, but if you do, fight back hard and you will be awaited in Valhalla. Take it easy, keep watching movies, and we'll see you next week.